الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك، ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا. ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحييتنا، واجعله الوارث منا، واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا، وانصرنا اللهم على من عادانا، ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا، ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا. اللهم ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا يا رب العالمين. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم، يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها، وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه، وعنا معهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessing to be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's khutbah inshallah will be about an Islamic solution for the phenomena of suicide worldwide. SubhanAllah, I received like an article from one of the social media platforms, a Muslim talking about why Muslims are considered from the lowest rates people in terms of committing suicide. So I was reading the article, I felt as if the statistics compared the countries are not accurate, so I did my own research to the latest updated of yesterday. So, subhanallah, I want to deliver from one angle a message of hope. From another angle, I need you to be proud that you have a solution to provide for the world. Because sometimes if you have a solution out of love, out of sympathy, out of empathy, you need to let others know about it. Maybe you can save some of them. Actually, you know, we Muslims, we believe we have the constitution of Allah, the divine constitution, which contains solutions for everyone on earth to the day of judgment. So in light of this, it's good to have an idea so that you yourself will protect yourself, your kids, relatives, siblings, anyone who's related to you, and in case someone would love to have an idea about the solution that you have, please be aware of it. This is the title and the aim and the goal of this khutbah. So, an Islamic solution for the phenomena of suicide. Now, I stayed for about maybe 5 to 7 hours researching the statistics from the World Health Organization, Wikipedia, and CDC, the Center for Diseases and I think Protection or Prevention in the United States, so that I can have some kind of comparison to make sure that what I'm using to the best of my knowledge are somehow accurate. Because by the way, when you talk about statistics, now sometimes you say differences. The reason, it depends on the criteria that you are using. Sometimes people, they talk about suicide, for example, incidents without taking in considerations the law or the medical law in some liberal countries, where they allow what they call the euthanasia, al-maut al-rahim. Sometimes they consider it, sometimes they don't consider it, in their statistics. Sometimes they look at it from, does it contain the mental health problems or without? So depending on that, we might have some kind of differences. So therefore, I will not be depending, because for about 7 hours, I saw tons and tens of statistics. So I made my research as much as I can to be with the general idea now. Now, let me just give you the following figures now. Then I will do the analysis and the solution. Now, for your information, on Earth, we have about 195 countries. Even this, it's not agreed upon, because some people, they say, do we consider the state of Palestine a country or not a country? So depending on that, the one who considered it a country, they said 194, 193. The one who decided not to consider it, so sometimes, anyway, around 195 countries on Earth, okay? So, and they are all members in the United Nations. Now, on yearly basis, at least the last 2-3 years, the average of people who commit suicide as a general number is around 800,000 persons. Which means, mathematically, every 42nd, someone is committing a suicide. Which means, in mathematical understanding, since the brother started the adhan, till this moment, around 12 to 15 persons, they killed themselves while I'm speaking with you now. Statistically, okay, which is really something horrible. And we need to think about seriously to protect ourselves and to protect anyone who can be benefited from our solutions. Right. Now, let's have an idea about just the United States, then I will go to the worldwide. Why United States? Because United States is considered the dream for many people on earth. Number one, United States supposedly is the best democratic, the best, the most powerful, whatever comes to your mind, this is what the people have an idea about. According to the CDC, sorry, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2021, 183 people died by suicide in the United States. That is one death every 11 minutes. Just in the United States, someone is died by suicide every 11 minutes. This is according to from the website, which is the CDC, Center for Disease and Control Prevention. Let's go to the website of the World Population Review. And the statistics in this website is based on the World Health Organization. Okay? They take what they need, they put it there, and the Wikipedia as well. Now that in 2019, the top 10 countries in suicide, some of them neither myself nor yourself will recognize, because very strange names for countries. First time I heard them. Like for example, Lesotho. How many of you know Lesotho? None. Lesotho is a country next to South Africa. First time in my life I hear. Anyway, so therefore, I will skip any unknown or well-known name of country, but I will be using the very well-known countries, okay? From the top 10 now is South Korea and Russia. The last 3 years, top 10, from the top 10, South Korea and Russia. Why I need South Korea? South Korea is going in its economy, finance, like a space rocket. And you know that. You know that. Used to look to the Huawei, the LG, Hyundai, Kia Motors, Samsung. Samsung alone, its budget is equal at least maybe to 18 Arab countries. Samsung alone, just. By the way, about 12 years ago, Samsung alone, its budget was more than Google, Apple, Microsoft combined. 12 years ago, not now. Now Apple is 2 trillion. At that time, the 3 giant American companies, Samsung was more than them, about 12 years ago. So we are talking about one company in South Korea. So is there a problem of economy? No. Technology? No. Infrastructure? No. Social security? No. One musical band, which is the BTS, one musical band in South Korea brings to the national income 5-point-something billion dollars. The BTS musical band brings to the national income of South Korea. So my point, you know why I'm focusing on this? Because some people keep thinking, or they are somehow brainwashed indirectly, that people, they might decide to get rid of their life because of finance, because of the madda, because of the materialistic needs, because of this. Okay, if this is true, now Russia, for example, one of them, it's not one, 5,000 nuclear, the only country that is threatening the United States. So are they lacking land? Are they lacking the ego? Are they lacking, okay? Number 9 on worldwide out of 195 in suicide committing. If I'm not mistaken, because I did not copy, I think number 15 or 17 is China. But what about the Chinese economy? Space rocket as well. China has already occupied tens of countries on earth through economy. So is it a problem of money? Because many people tend to think so. If this is a problem of money, you try to provide an answer. Russians, Chinese, South Koreans, why they have high rates of suicide. Now, amazingly, to the best, because I saw at least about 10 statistics. One of them, the first Muslim country, it was number 57. Which means 56 countries on earth, then a Muslim country. I forget, it's Uzbekistan or something like that. In other statistics, the first Muslim Arab country, it was 37 and 27. It depends on the criteria. But to the best of my knowledge, no one from the top 10 at all, neither Muslims nor Arabs or Arab Muslims, at all. Even though, this is my point, I think that 75% of refugees on earth are Muslims. The most backward political regimes on earth, they are in Arab countries. The highest level of torturing people, destruction of infrastructure, losing any hope in any future, in education, in everything. Yet, from the lowest countries, according to the World Health Organization, of suicide is Syria and Jordan. Amazingly, Syria and Jordan. I'm not discussing political systems now. I'm discussing World Health Organization as a population. How many of them they tend, because logically, I think Syrians, if وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, if we excluded faith completely, Syrians should have the highest, Syrians and Iraqi, they should have the highest rate of suicide ever in the history of humanity, depending on political, context, on security context. Many of them, they are tortured all the time. There's maybe no one single Syrian, but he has at least one person has been tortured or killed or disappeared in Iraq and for political and sectarian reasons. They are tortured on 24/7. But as a personal decision of killing myself from the lowest 6 on earth, Syria. I'm just giving you numbers now. I have not interfered with the analytics, okay? I'm just giving you numbers. Now let's pause. Before Google, before the social media, I remember something in my mind. I started doing my PhD in the UK in 1997, about 26 years ago. At that time, we hardly just started using the internet in 95. So we did not have Google at that time. We did not have YouTube. We did not have any kind of social media, as you know. So we were depending on books, articles, books, magazines. I remember 25 years ago that I used to depend on behind me 5 to 10 years statistics. So I will be quoting to you from my memory now. Something happened 30 years ago. And it was applicable on 90s, 80s, 70s. So, okay, it's not up to date, but just to make a quick comparison. I remember when I did my research that time to use it in a context similar to this, that for many years, the top 5, from the top 5 and nearly number 1 for many years, it was Sweden. Not now. Now, no. Sweden now, it's not even from the top 20. But for many years, in 70s, 80s, 90s, Sweden was number 1. And from the top 5. In the same years in parallel, number 3, 4, 7, 6, 3, 4, 7, 6, Japan. From the top 10 for decades, Sweden and Japan. But Sweden in the top. So I did research, but actually I did research, because 30 years ago, okay? But metaphorically, I did some research at that time, just to make a comparison. I was astonished. It was mind-blowing for me. One of the things that I discovered 25, 30 years ago, that when these statistics, for example, Sweden was the top, I noticed 2 big phenomena now. At that time, in the same time, Sweden was considered, not now, at least not for the last 15 years, was number 1 on earth in terms of the individual income on yearly basis. Number 1, Sweden. But I forget how many $1,000. My memory says it's either 5 or 7,000 US dollars. Sorry, a month. $7,000 a month. It was one of the top and sometimes number 1 on earth. While I was reading, because sometimes as an academic, I'm an associate professor in a university. So basically when you want to say something, you go back, first of all, you have data. You go and search for numbers and figures. Then you bring the figures, you compare, then you analyze, then you come up with the possible results. So I was just searching for data. One of the amazing things I noticed when I was reading, that Sweden at that time, I don't know now, it was the highest level of atheism in Europe. 82% of Swedish people that time, they were atheists. I don't know now. So amazingly, I saw these 3 factors. Highest level of income, highest level of atheism in Europe, highest level of suicide at that time. Japan was from the top 5 of the income, highest level of suicide, but I did not know exactly what was the, but as you know, in Japan, basically Shintoism and sometimes Buddhism, but the level of atheism, for me, my point is not discussing atheism, I'm discussing losing the faith. It was from the top 5 or top 7 for many years, not now. So and now here comes the big surprise. When I was doing that research, one of the lowest rates of suicide on earth at that time, it was Bangladesh. So I started searching about the income of the individual in Bangladesh to do some academic comparison. So I discovered that the average of the income for the Bengali citizen is $112 a year. About $9.5 a month. Okay, statistics, figures talk. Is it a problem of money? Can anyone claim that Bengali people, they have better infrastructure than Swedish people? No. Can anyone claim that Bangladesh people, they have a better hope in a better future in their education, dreams, health, social, whatever, just mention it, just name it, nothing. But one of the lowest rates of suicide. Still, I'm talking about old statistics now. Let's compare it. Now the latest, South Korea is China and Russia now, okay? Compared with Jordan and Syria and some very poor Muslim countries. That time it was Sweden, Japan with Bangladesh, and still, ups and downs. But the idea, wherever you go, since 30 years up to now, I have never ever come across that a Muslim country or Arab Muslim country is from the top 10, even though Muslims and Arab Muslims, they are suffering materialistically, politically, economically, ethically, just to do whatever LY you would love, they are the worst. Yet, people, they did not lose hope. So here comes the solution now. Now, okay, I'm offering a possibility. I can't force anyone, but I have the right to analyze, because the liberal analyzes from his background. The secular analyzes from his background. The atheist analyzes from his background. The Muslim should be analyzing from what? His background. To the best of my understanding as a Muslim, the only factor that could be noted clearly is faith. Just because some people say, hey, are you suggesting Muslim, all people, they have I'm not suggesting anything. Let everyone does what he wants. I'm just giving you statistics. But let's understand now, let's come to our own house inside. How does faith stop me, prevent me, protects me from this phenomenon, which is very dangerous, very dangerous. Losing your life is not something easy, especially, by the way, exclude from my talk and people, may Allah be with them, who are suffering from mental health or suffering from something they can't control, exclude this thing. Because something, it is some medical reasons, which is completely, I'm talking about the people, while they are thinking, they say, why should I stay alive? I don't want this life. Just he decided with full control, no problems, no mental health, nothing at all. Just he decided to finish his life, okay? If we took this category in consideration, do we have logical human reasons to think in this way? Yes. When you have a debt of 2 or 3, 400,000 and your income is just 2,000 and you need 500 years to pay this debt. For some people, it's more than enough to finish your life. When you have a family who misunderstood you for whatever reason, you've been accused of fake things and they kicked you out of the house, whether your wife or your husband or your parents or whatever. For many people, emotionally, it's more than enough to end his or her life. Anyone who was accused falsely by the media or by a dictator regime, and he was in prison for 15 years without any evidence, but because the corrupted people, they decided to torture him at jail. Why not to finish his life logically as a human being? Why not? Because being tortured in a jail for 21 years while you have done nothing is much worse mathematically than ending your life logically. But what stops you from taking this decision? Here comes now faith. That's why you need to know the importance of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, the most wise, al-Hakim, always connects al-Iman billah wal yawm al-akhir. It's not always connected Iman and Zakah. It's not always connected Iman and Salah, by the way. It's not always connected Iman and angels or Iman and book. Iman yu'minuna billahi wal yawm al-akhir. Billah, the highest connection with Iman billah is al-yawm al-akhir. You know why? The hereafter. Why? Because it's the completion of the story. Because if this element disappears, we are lost. No base. We are nothing. Khalas, we are finished. Because simply, what gives you the hope that he will take your rights when a big dictatorship regime kills you, torture you, rape your daughter or your wife, and he disappeared, and you can do nothing, and everyone is against you? What will give you the power? The fact that you know there is what? Accountability. Some people might say, "Ya Sheikh, do you want me to waste my time to think in something after death?" I said, don't you apply this in your worldly life? If someone attacked your shop, killed your son, killed your daughter, and he threw some chemical things in your face, you lost your skin, part of your body, and the police captured him. What will stop you from taking revenge by your hand? Going to the court. Justice. Type justice in the best could be this person will be killed he will be sentenced to death. Many countries, they don't have the capital management. They will take him to jail 30 or 40 years. And you might be compensated by the insurance companies. Type. Insurance company, the person is 40 years at jail. Does that solve your real problem? No, but this is the best of what we do. And some people, they are very happy. Let's discuss. Now, just 2 days ago, if you read in the local news, 2 days ago, the terrorist person who killed the family in London 2 years ago, the London family, who was driving his car, he turned willingly and he smashed the four, the father and the mother and the grandmother, and that child who was 9 years, who was looking by his own eyes while all of his family completely, they were smashed by this terrorist. 2 days ago, he pleaded to the court that I'm not guilty. With all rudeness you can ever imagine. Just 2 days ago, in Windsor. Not guilty. Type. What will stop this guy from taking revenge by his hand now? The courts. The justice. At least when he thinks that this person will go to jail for his life. At least. It will not solve the full problem. But at least I'm talking about how come you want me to believe in the hereafter? How come you are living in this worldly life and you accept these solutions? And sometimes the criminal is disappeared and you can do nothing. And sometimes because he is so powerful and so clever and his lawyer is very clever, they were able to escape from it. And you're just looking, you want to explode and you can do nothing. Does this happen in this worldly life or not? Which means, when you tell me, no, I don't want this faith system, what else do you have compared with it? If you have better than it, tell me about it, I will leave Islam and follow you. Wallah, I'm not joking. If you have better than my system as a Muslim, tell me about it, I will follow you, I will leave Islam. I'm ready, I challenge. قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدْ فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْعَابِدِينَ. Allah was teaching Prophet Muhammad to use this strategy in comparison. If you can't prove to me that God has a son, I, as a Muhammad, will be the first worshipper of this son. Prove it to me. Convince my reason, my intellectual power that this is doable or acceptable, and I will be the first worshipper. In the same way, prove to me that there is a system that will give you the tranquility, the peace of mind, Yawm al-Qiyamah, and there is a full justice. You will be resurrected, recreated again. La ghilla hasad, there is no hatred, nothing at all. You will be living in the Jannah forever under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will suffer nothing, and your haqq, right, it will be taken completely in rewards and sins. The one who did injustice for you might, even though after your death he did a lot of hasanat, he will take of his hasanat, he will go to Jahannam. It will be your choice to forgive him or not. And maybe because you decided to forgive, you yourself, you were about to go to Jahannam, you went to the Jannah because of this. So it's an amazing divine compensation system. This is divine court, mahkama al-ilahiyya. When you know about this, you believe in this. Does this give you power not to end your life or not? Because if you have something else, please let me know about it. This could be one of the most important reasons, by the will of Allah, why we don't have this problem. So please, review, reconsider being proud of this system, seek more knowledge about it, live according to it, so that when you face a disaster in your life, it will not be out of your vocabulary to think about suicide, and to help others as well. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين. إن الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. طبعا respected brothers and sisters in Imam, acquiring faith, living is not a philosophy. You need to live the faith. You need to apply the implications of faith, so that the ladha, the pleasure, the beauty, the sense of Iman should be embedded within you. I will give you just one example. We have tens of examples, but we have no time. One example, praying the Fajr on time. Quran al-Fajr, and I'm giving you an example how to live faith, so that when you have a problem, you have a shield based on faith. Okay? When you do the sadaqah, when you lower your gaze for the sake of Allah, يَجِدُ لَذَّتَهَا فِي قَلْبِهِ, He will find this kind of beautiful, Iman in your hearts. Praying the Fajr, وَقُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ إِنَّ قُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ كَانَ مَشْهُودًا تَشْهَدُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Angels are praying with you. The one who does not pray the Fajr at the masjid, it will be never ever understand what you are talking about. It's something cannot be transmitted, cannot be explained. It's something you have to live it practically. You will leave the bed, you do the wudu, you leave all kind of your desires, you come to the masjid, you insist to make the masjid, the Fajr, as a priority in your life, and therefore you stop having late dinner, you don't go out to your preferred restaurant with the best group of friends, you don't stay late at night, you pray the Isha, you go to bed with the intention, I want to keep praying the Fajr. When you put this effort, you will see what we call ladhatul Iman as 1 out of 10 possible practices of faith, so that when the problem comes, whatever it is, and by the way, none of us is protected from thinking of suicidal thinking, none of us. So let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and to leave this dunya while He is completely satisfied from us. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اللهم ارحمنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض ويوم العرض عليك يا كريم. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ووالد والدينا وأصحاب الحقوق والواجبات علينا يا كريم. اللهم إنا عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك، نواصينا بيدك، ماض فينا حكمك، عدل فينا قضاؤك، نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك وأنزلته في كتابك وعلمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله